So hello, Facebook's telling me I'm live. That's always a good start. I just need a little play with some of this technology, which, as we all know, is not my favourite activity. Let me see. Oh yes, I actually have gone live on there. Turn that off, and then I might be able to see what's going on. There we are. Cool. Well, that wasn't a very elegant look, was it? And we're a good few minutes early. So let's take the glasses out of the way. And we'll see where we're up to. Oh, there's a few people joining me. I did wonder whether people would join me this evening because of the events in London today. Hello Charmaine, thank you for joining me. Hello Teresa, thank you for watching. I can see comments, I can see what's going on. That's so all very positive, and we'll see how much of a mess I can manage to make this evening. We're a little bit ahead of schedule, so we will just wait to see what people are up to and let a few more people come in. Hello Rismana, thank you for joining me. And I think I said hello to Teresa. I think we've got a bit of competition tonight, ladies. There's a Facebook Live going on in another group with two very well-known crafters and also one on the Pentart page. So that might prove a little bit of a challenge. So hi Joan, thank you for joining me. Hi Helen. Anya, thank you so much for joining me. That is a real privilege. So this is lovely. We're getting some people coming in, and we're going to have a really good play tonight. I've got all sorts of mediums in front of me, and we're going to have a bit of rust, a bit of foil, a bit of velvet powder. And we're going to make an autumn decoration, or maybe a Halloween decoration, be it as it was. Yes, Charmaine, I know there's always lives going on at the different times. It's impossible, I think, to pick one that would a time that would suit everyone. It's just that this is coinciding with the Pentart live, and as we know, I work for Pentart, so that's not that's why there's a bit of competition. So my computer is still not saying 8 o'clock, or even 7. Yeah, 8. Shall we say 7 o'clock before everyone has 50 fits and wonders where they've managed to lose an hour of the day. There we are. So I've done a bit of prep because clearly some of these things will take a while. Yeah, I was aware that was what was going on, Anya, and enjoy what they're doing. I shall probably catch it up later on, which is what I did with their first part. So we're going to be making a wreath, and I've just got an MDF base from a company that just makes lots of MDF pieces and goes to lots of the shows, and I have some really quite cute and different pumpkins with carved faces, and they are about 3 inches wide and probably about the same high. Don't worry about not inviting Anthony, Joan. I think there's a lot going on for him at the moment. He's probably de-stressing after his shows on Create and Craft today. So I've just got some of these. I've got some beautiful fabric autumn leaves that we're going to use. I've got some faux acorns and some berries, and those I'm going to leave as they are. And I've got some really quite yucky shiny pumpkins which we're going to be altering. So let's get started and we'll see where we are. A lot of the base isn't actually going to be visible. but I'm conscious that I did a technique or showed a piece on the television the other day and really didn't show how it was made, and you'd have thought I'd have picked up the old bottle of the Lucer gel, but no, I picked up the new one. So I'm just going to take the Lucer gel, which is a wood stain, so it will cover the MDF beautifully and sink in and then provide a protective layer. Hello Julie, thank you for joining us. And this colour, which is the cherry, I think gives a beautiful almost faux mahogany effect with what I'm going to do. So we'll just add a layer of this all over. There we are. And give it a paint. So if anyone's got any questions they want to ask me, pop them in the comments, and as I see them I will do my best to answer. As I say, I think quite a lot of this base probably isn't going to be visible by the time I finish this. But that's okay, that's cool, isn't it? Because it's all about adding the layers and the detail, and what gets seen at the end gets seen at the end. But I think it's better to have things covered before we start, because then we'll, if it is showing through, at least then we know that it's not going to be the bare MDF piece. Let's there to watch it. There we are. So let's just add some of that, and we're going to give that a little bit of a quick dry. She says, can she see her heat gun? Yes, she can. So the joy of working in here. I hope it doesn't get too dark, because otherwise we might have a problem, because I forgot to put the lights on and I can't reach the light on my ring light very well, because my arms aren't long enough, being significantly vertically challenged. But as I can't do much about that, we'll just plod on whilst that is drying. So I hope everyone is okay and finding some solace in their crafting and just carrying on with some normal activity, because I do think actually that's a good way of coping through with all that is going on at the moment. Here we are. Ooh. Let it dry without touching it, then I might not end up with bright cherry coloured hands, which is probably prudent, isn't it? There we are. I won't need that brush, so let me shovel that into a pot of water to my side, and let's get, hopefully that is dry. So the next thing that I want to do is add some extra detail to this, and I've got my Lucer gel, which is exactly the same thing as I used for my just covering it, and I've put on a reasonably thick layer. I'm going to have to go and grab some baby wipes, which I've left over the side, and this is a wood graining tool, and we can see it's got circles and this one ends, and that's the side I'm going to put down, and I'm literally just going to rock that down, and I'm aware that I'm not going to see very much of it, and that is absolutely fine. I just wanted to add a little bit of texture into my background while I was, which can then sit there drying. So keep that, get it round the right way, and tuck that out the way. Then this tool is a Stamperia tool, but I'm sure that you can get wood graining tools in lots of other places online if you look, so it's not such a problem. You've sent him an invite. Yeah, I think he's offline. He was offline when I started to go live. I think he's probably quite tired. I know that I suspect he's like me. When he's down at her Chandra, he stays at Create and Craft even. He stays down there, and I don't know that he sleeps wonderfully well in the hotel that we both stay in. So Let me just grab a bag of baby wipes, because if you don't clean your tool, then actually you don't get good marks on it. But on here you can see I'm getting some texture, and as that dries it'll be more visible. Hello Anthony, thank you. I just assumed that you would be very tired after your travels today, so but it's really nice of you to join me. So I'm just going to pop that out of the way onto that beloved floor of mine, which is just as well, it's tiled, although my poor wrist didn't thank me for it being tiled a good few months ago when I decided to go flying and broke my wrist on it because it was a tile floor. Let me just get this mess tidied up. So that's going to provide a little bit of detail in the back of there, and then it is worth it, because otherwise I shall have red covering everything that I don't want covered red. So what have we got next to do? Okay, so as I say, I've got some fairly bright, shiny pumpkin picks. They're relatively easy to pick up, and I'm just going to cut myself off one. I've got a lot of them pre-prepared, and I'm going to use hello Millie, it's a long time since I've seen you online. You're looking really well though when I did last see you. So this is the Pentart tacky glue, and it does what it says on the tin. It stays very tacky and is nigh on impossible to get off your hands. Alcohol gel or a glue dissolver does eventually shift it, and it goes on white, and I did some earlier so that we didn't have to wait for all of these to dry. I'm conscious that actually I've picked quite a big project to do, so that can go in there. And let me just grab this. So this is just a polystyrene piece of polystyrene, and I can now shovel that in there quite safely and abandon it until it has dried. These have already been covered, and this one has tacky glue on it, and it really is very tacky. So the next bit is how did I convert this shininess to these, which have a soft feel and look more natural, having lost the shininess. And the key to that, she says happily, is this stuff, which is made up by mixing some of the velvet powders. Now, for those of you that have got flock powder in your stash from eons ago, it's essentially flock powder, and just because it doesn't come with an orange doesn't mean that you can't make your own. So a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, quite a lot of yellow because it's quite a bright red, and I added some beige to mute it down a little bit as well in the process. So let's just add a big squidge of that. And the only thing I would say is it's quite important when you're mixing up custom colours that you make up enough for your project, because it's not an exact science, and if you're not careful, you know, trying to replicate the colour that you want is quite difficult. So it really is that simple. It's a bit of colour theory. Mix it up until you like the colour of what it is. That sort of approximates to that. And now, so this one is tacky. I don't know if you can hear it's tacky, but I certainly can. And all I'm going to do is dangle it or wrap it into my pot and give it a little squash to make sure it's all set and stuck on. And there we are, we have one flocked pumpkin. we're not using the eggs. They're waiting there from previous projects, but it was the only piece of polystyrene I could find. And then repeat that for as many as you need for your project, because ultimately only you know that. And then I'm missing, where have I put it, she says. Now that's always helpful. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's move that over here, pop that one out of the way. So my pumpkins started out as plain MDF, and then I added a layer. So one of the things I'm going to be bringing to air at some point in the not too distant future is the Pentart Rust Effect set. Now these come with 20ml pots of paint. I've got the bigger versions here just because I do an awful lot, but it's exactly the same paint and it's exactly the same colours. And I started by adding some of the reddish brown to my pieces, she says, having mixed everything into the one pot, and that was literally a coat. And again, you'll notice I'm not worrying about priming this, and that's simply because actually I'm going to be adding lots of layers, and so I don't need to worry about the exact coverage. And I'm not worrying too much about a true colour because I'm going for a browny rusty look. So that's really not so difficult, I think, for anyone to be able to do. And then that needs a little bit of a dry. The one thing I will go through is about 25,000 paint brushes tonight. So let's just give that a little bit of dry. There we are. Once that was dry, rust forms on metal surfaces, predominantly on iron, so I wanted my pumpkins to have a metal effect, not necessarily true to form, but I definitely wanted a metal effect, and so I've got some metal leaf glue. Hello Sabine, thank you for joining us this evening. I do hope all is well. I was away at the weekend, so didn't see your most recent lives. So this is metal leaf glue, designed for the purpose, and it will provide a go on clear on white and dry clear, and will give me a surface that I can add gilding flakes to. And I just put it in patches. Again, I wasn't overly fussy because I knew I was going to add some rust to it, and you can see it goes on milky. That can go in there, that can safely go on here. And light blue Peter, here is one I've prepared earlier, and it has a shiny surface in areas where that is. So let me grab a piece of cloth, because otherwise I will have gilding flakes every which way, and I'm running out of room because that's what you do, isn't it? Yeah, more pots of product than you know what to do with. So I have chosen for this for these the red metal flakes. Now you're thinking, red? It's hardly red, but this is one of the variant mixes, and it's M11, and it does have redder tones. There is one that's described as green, and that's M10, and that's definitely got more greeny blue tones in it. I think you can use lots to get lots of different effects, can't you? So I'm just going to add these. I've got quite a lot of dust in the top of here because I don't like waste, she says, throwing masses of stuff all the way around, which is why I put it onto a piece of paper. Give that a little massage. That will stick to like wherever my glue is, and I've got a scrubby brush but a stiff stencil brush will equally work quite well to shift it. So I've got areas that are covered now in a mixture, and you could just leave it like that if that's what you wanted to do. So just empty this lot before it goes flying around the room, because gilding flakes get everywhere, and I know my luck, I should probably give a big sneeze and promptly send it all around the room. There we are. The very small bits of dust can go. There we are. So that's those onto there. So really easy to use to project. There's gold, silver, white silvers, and assorted different mixes. So there we are. There is our gilded or partially gilded pumpkin. And now let's go through these other colours. So rust is a mixture of all sorts of different colours. So this is earthy brown. I think you probably agree it does quite look like earth, so that will do. Shovel that into there. I'm not going to need huge quantities, as I say, because I've done quite a lot of the pre-preparing for this. So let's just add a little bit of that, which is the reddish brown. And then we've got one that's called red clay. I'm not sure, I think it's red clay because it's definitely more of an orange colour as far as I can make out, but there we are. We'll have a little bit of that. We're putting out way more than we need, but that's just fine. So that can go over there. And then ochre. Let me just pop that onto there, and we'll pop out a little bit of that. And go really gently with the ochre because it's a very prominent, dominant colour. And the other thing that is in our pot, our Rust Effect page, which has got the 4 colours, is some 3D powder. Yes, Jane, I think you're right. It is more of a terracotta colour than red clay, but maybe red clay is terracotta, I don't know. So the other thing that we need is a little bit of texture, and this is just 3D powder, and as I say, there's a tube of it in the Rust Effect kit. I'm just greedy, I've got big pots. And now I'm just going to add some bits and pieces. So I'm going to add, and I'm as you can see, I'm adding it over some of the areas where I have the gilding flakes, because I'm wanting to build up. I don't want a single tone, and rust isn't too picky, is it, about where it meets and things. So the predominant colours are going to be the darker colours, and I'm deliberately sort of almost mashing them into each other so that I get lots of tones and shades, and you know, it works really well when the paints are wet. So there we are. Let's give that, we will give that a little bit of a clean, because why not? And then this is where you need to be quite careful, because if you add too much of the orange, it overwhelms it, like I've just done there. But that's, again, no problem. Just give it a little bit more and add your tones into place, and the colours will mix quite happily and blend, which is cool. And then we're going to add a little bit of the yellow to make it look as rusty as we can, because it's all made up of that. Now, I know that quite often people at this stage will then go and add some patina colours, but actually patina forms only on copper, and rust forms on iron, so the two are not naturally seen together. Have you not, Anthony? It comes in fine and also in coarse. Let me grab the coarse, because then you can make an educated choice as to which version you want, she says, having put it somewhere where she can't see it. but there is, yeah, there's different grades of it, so just pick the one that you want for. So I poured out the fine, which really is like a very thin powder, and this is the coarse, and I don't know whether you'll be, which is really almost like little beads. Think, you know, with the Finnebear art stones, it's probably one of the tiniest bit components in those, and they just add just that extra. Can you make your own paste from paint? You need to thicken it, your paints up. So as long as you've got something to thicken it with, Joan, yes, you can make your paints up, your own paste from paint. It really just depends on what you want. Pentart don't have a medium for thickening their paints up, but 13 Arts have a product called, I think it's Magic Powder, and that will convert most paints into stencil paste quite happily if that's what you want. So we now have our gilded, rusty pumpkin, and all I've done is essentially use 4 different brown, orange, yellow shades of acrylic paint and a little bit of powder, so that can go over there on the floor. So those are the component makes for this piece, and let me just, so I now need to get my base dry. And there we are, and we've got stuff everywhere because that's what you do. It's just as well I don't have another live this week, isn't it? But I do have one next week for Pentart, then one the following week back here, then you've got a break from me for a week, and then I've got one the 5th of October here and the 6th of October on Pentart. So I think I might be a very busy girl over the next few weeks, but that's cool. Being occupied is good therapy, isn't it? I am using brown, Anthony. I know it's not a colour I gravitate to, is it? But I do rust, and I can, you know, in its correct places. And I'm sort of was thinking autumn, and then sort of thinking rust, and combining the different products together to get you know, just to have a bit of a play, really. Why are you sitting there chuckling, Anthony? Let us in on the secret as to why you're sitting here chuckling. There we are. So I do need to be patient now. Patience isn't actually my forte, is it, when I'm doing things like this? You'll all know that I definitely like things to dry quicker than they do, and it always, you know, it's a bit like a paint pot. The kettle, isn't it? It never dries, you know, it never boils when you watch it. Who uses brown? Just don't say the name there. Now you've set me off chuckling. But it's not antiquing paste, and the whole of the project isn't going to be covered in a brown slurry. Yes, you've gotten onto it as well, Joan. Yes, I know. I like brown. It has its place, but on every project it definitely doesn't deserve to be. But everyone is entitled to craft in a way that gives them pleasure. So that's the most important thing, isn't it? Patience is a virtue, she says. This is actually cherry, Anthony. Although I think you're right, it does look brown on screen, but the colour is cherry. It's a funny looking cherry, isn't it? It's a really, really dark reddy brown, I have to say. Some of Pentart's colourings, when they translate them into English, are, I think, quite interesting. It doesn't always work, I think, do their translations. So we now have a base. We've got some altered pumpkins, and remember you can alter pretty much anything with the tacky glue and mixing your own velvet powders. And we've added some foiling, and we've also done a little bit of rust. And so from here we're going to have a play, because playing is good. So as I say, I know that I have, anyone would think I might have planned this, wouldn't they, really? Well, that's probably because actually I did, because we might well need a bit more than that. There's my pre-made pumpkins, and we'll be adding another. So I'm going to tuck that in, over and under, and over and under, and these aren't going to stay flat, so we are going to have a little bit of a play. So we're going to go under, over, over, under. Sorry about that, I've clearly got a window open I've forgotten about. So over. Is that the same as that? We might swap that one around. Over and under. Tuck that out the way. Over and under. There we are. Under. Over. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we worked it out. We had an odd number, so there we are. So we've clearly got something not quite right here, haven't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we have 7. And we might, well, we'll worry about it, because obviously the brain wasn't quite in gear when we counted those out, and that's fine. So we'll have a little bit of smoozling round, and we'll get rid of a colour at the top, and we'll pop the that'll be, because there we are. There we are. Well, she says it'll all be adding to the fun of life, or we might just have to gild another one of those, because I clearly couldn't count. Well, why not? There we are. So we'll pop that, and we're going to spread those around a bit. So there we are. That will work, because we're sort of even, and we have some smaller smaller leaves. So we're going to tuck some of these in around the place, so that they add some extra interest, in and out. Doesn't have to be in a precise place, so let's pop that over there. I think these are relatively easy to find, ladies, so just have a hunt around for them. I think most floristry wholesalers will probably have this sort of thing in stock if we go hunting for them enough. We might, anyway, from there. So let us have a little bit of a play and start adding some of this lot in place. And I must say, I have got probably my all-time favourite glue lurking around, so we'll just stick that one there, that one there. That can tuck underneath there. Let's stick you under there. We're just going to add some bits, and you can see I am not being very sort of particularly overly careful. Ow, she says, burning a finger, because I don't want these attached in all places. I want to be able to tuck things over, under and on top of them, and I can obviously trim bits as I want to, or add bits as I want to, and I'm making sure that they sit around the place, some poking off the out inwards and some poking inwards, and I have plenty more of those when I find myself another glue stick. So there we are. So that will do as a starting point, and then we're going to think about it. So we've got that, so we're going to pop, we're going to tuck that one there, and this is when my all-time favourite glue that I don't think there's any substitute here. Where did I get the leaves from? I got my leaves from a lady called Marta Cott, who is on Facebook, and she is a Polish lady, and she sells all sorts of things that are quite useful. So it's quite nice to have these about. So that's a different one, so let's pop that. We're going to tuck you under there. So we've got them in, out, round about, upside down and back to front. Sorry, that just had to be done. Yeah, so we're going to add, that one can go there, and things. But I think if you look at Country Baskets, they probably have them in, and we might well be needing to do, oh no, there is another one over there. I also think that Dawn Bibby has some in, and she had them on Create and Craft not so very long ago. So there we are, we've got an odd number of pumpkins lurking around here. Let's tuck you like that. There we are. Right, now then, pop that out of the way, and then we can carry on. We can fill as we want to. The top won't matter. So the next move is to add some of our pumpkins in place, and I've got quite a lot of these, so we'll just have a little bit of a play. We're adding essentially texture and size and depth, and just having a good play really with all sorts of things that you might sort of expect to find around in the autumn, because well, I just think that that's a good thing to have, isn't it? Is lots of autumnal things. We might pop another one of those there. So we're deliberately going all a bit asymmetric, and that's cool because asymmetric is always good in my book. We might pop that onto there. And we've got another one, so we might pop that over to there. So I sort of quite like those scattered around, and I know that I've deliberately not popped those in. Now the acorns could of course be changed as you want to, so you could add flocking powder to these, and I have from some bits of greenery which we're going to chop up, because these definitely came from Country Baskets, and just because it's, yeah, so let's just break these up. I have got a set of wire cutters here, so I'm not going to be destroying a pair of my scissors in the process. So we've got some bits. These come in browns, oranges, greens, and they also come in red. The Works is a really, the Works is a great place to pick up things, isn't it? For the ladies in the UK, it's really good place, source of all sorts of extra embellishments. There we are. Excuse my grimaces. I'm doing that. you can make them out of the magic paper. You can do, I don't know, sometimes fabric flowers are, you know, there is something different about fabric flowers, but yeah, you use what you have, don't you? Make the most of what you've got, recycle what you need to recycle. You know, I'm using stuff that I have, but that's you know, as I say, it's about what we have and what we haven't. Now then, I am aware that that is a plastic pumpkin. I'm also aware that I'm running out of pin fair glue. I'm not really. I do have plenty of pin fair glue, so we're just going to add some bits of embellishments. We might you know, add some and fill up this wreath now, filling up the spaces, adding interest as we go. So there we are. Let's just stick a bit of that down there. That can go there. That can go into there. We'll stick some berries into there. We've got a beautiful blackberry there, so let's just tuck those in, get those to stick down into there. What else do we need? I think we might add a little bit of greenery into here, you see, and now we've got stuff misbehaving because it's not stuck down, so let's just pop that onto there. That can go into there, that can go there, and we're going to add a little bit more greenery. There we are. So this is, you know, am I a trained florist? Absolutely not. I'm sure any trained florist around would know that I have no training in floristry whatsoever. But I do enjoy having fun, putting things together, making things that I like, and having my own decorations around. So there we are. So we'll just pop you into there. Because the pin flare is holding the pumpkins in place, I am aware that you know, they will continue to move a little bit at the moment, and that's equally cool. We can add as much or as little as we want. I've got some nice ribbons for the top, so that's why that will resolve that one. There we are. She says throwing stuff around the place because she likes burning her fingers. There we are. So let's now come over to here. I think you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully we're not, you know, it's not a big problem. So that can go there. You can always use gel medium for doing this, but it doesn't give you quite the same instant fix, which is why I'm choosing to risk life and limb using a hot glue gun and going through glue sticks like there's no tomorrow. Hello Annie, I hope you all is well in Greece. It's a long time since I've seen any of your lives. I hope you've had a nice a really nice summer break. We've been doing whatever. So there we are. In a minute we can start to clear some of the mess, and then we might be able to see a bit more. There we are. If I get rid of that, that's always a good starting point. From here, so let's pop that into there. We might stick. So this is really about creating a composition that is pleasing to your eye. You know, there isn't a right and there isn't a wrong. I'm just using things that I happen to have about, that I like, that I felt would work together, and putting my pieces together. Now, at the end of the day, if it's not, you know, if you don't like the colours I've chosen, or it's not to your cup of tea, then change the colours up. These could just as easily be apples. You could pick, you know, you could go for sweet corns if you wanted to. That would work quite nicely. you know, instead, you know, to have a more Native American look maybe with that. You know, I'm sure at some point you're going to be seeing me doing something similar, but using poinsettia rather than pumpkins and the like. So ultimately the choice is really yours as to where you go and what you want to add or not add. Do I like that as it is? Yes, I sort of do like it as it is. And you think, am I a more is more person? Very definitely I am a more is more person. There is no hiding from that fact of life. I need a nice big ribbon at the top. I might need a piece of ribbon to hang it up with. That's always a good starting point, isn't it? So let's just put a piece of orange shabby ribbon. So these are shabby because I think they're probably made from sari silks, to be fair. But so I've just done a loop and then pop the tails through my loop to tighten it down, and that is called a lark's head knot. And if you leave it like it is, it will sort of gradually drift. So I'm just going to tie that down with a knot on top of it and add another knot here. So I've got a loop, and that can be shortened according to your needs. She says, throwing stuff around the floor. Because why don't we throw stuff around the floor, she says. There we are. So let's just tuck that into there. And now I have some assorted more ribbon. So I've got a burgundy, an orange, and also a dark purple. Again, these are shabby ribbons. They are available from Old Fashioned Ribbons on Etsy for anyone who really wants to have a look. And like that, so we'll just add a nice multi-layered bow, get those loops approximately the same. The intention is that it looks shabby and untidy, so rather than all completely layered. So that can go onto the top of there, comes that. And then I can pop some around the back and some around the front, and there we are. So those will tuck into there and those will hang. Now, do I want to add any more? Well, let us see if this will make it look prettier, or whether actually I'm just going to keep it as it is. Bear with while I go and turn the lights on. It might take a while to come on. There we are. But hopefully that might improve the lighting quality in here. So I've got some of these flowers. Now these are actually silk, but they look very much like Heliochrysum, the faux plant, the real plant that looks yeah, quite like that. Almost like it's made from dried straw almost. So yes, I'm going to add some flowers because it's autumn. It's not, we're allowed to have some autumn flowers, aren't we, in our eggs? And actually I think that this will add to our little collections quite nicely. So these, as I say, are vintage shabby flowers on sticks. I'm not too sure what I'll use the sticks for. I'm sure I'll find a use for them at some point in the future, but for now we're just going to have, we're going to add some extra bits to these, and I've got lots of them. So I like making home decor pieces with material that is going to survive long term. I don't think I want to add any of the cream, but who knows, we might change our mind, because for me this is all about adding layers and detail. And there's a horrible gap there, so this one this flower. We'll get a good squaddle of that onto there, and we might stick that into there to fill that gap. There we are. I sort of feel I need something to balance over here, and I don't know that I really want to add another pumpkin. I could do, because the one that I prepped earlier with the with the paint is now actually dry, so I could just grab some more and add that in. Do we want that there? Do we want that there? Or shall we pop that there? Or shall we pop it there? I think I'm going to pop it under there so it peeks out from underneath, because why not? There we are, and that can tuck into there. That can sit there, so that can sit there. So let's clear some of this inordinate mess. I don't think I'm the only person who has more product out than they know what to do with during a live, but maybe I am. And there we are. We have one happily made, covered in glue strings, autumn wreath with pumpkins, pumpkin faces, and lots of faux greenery and plants. So these now need my Pinfair glue get to dry, and I may well later on turn it over and just add some more of the leaves that I've got left over from behind, so that they're popping in and out. Let me have a little show you what I mean. You know, I think that space is a bit empty, so I might well just add what she says. Might do it later. Well, why not do it now and have done with it? So there we are. We can pop that into there, so that's sort of filling that space. And I also sort of feel that it's a bit empty here, and it's also a bit empty there. So let me have a little play, and then we can just carry on adding to our heart's content. I think it looks a bit empty there, but I'm not sure I really want to add another cluster there. So we'll see where we sit over time. So let me add, because I can see gaps, and this is now very much about adding pieces as you feel that you want to, using the surfaces that you've got. So I've got a gap there, so that's going to tuck behind into there. What else? Those are going to fill into there, so I might well pop that one up there, and that can tuck into there, so it's tucked behind. There we are. So ladies, you can carry on at this point playing to your heart's content, adding as much or as little as you want. I would say that you need to let the Pinfair glue gel dry. You might ask why on earth I bothered to do the Lasur gel underneath, but actually I've got areas where I can see through to that MDF, and so if I can see through, so can everyone else. So I hope that's been helpful and a bit different. I'm glad you like it. Lots of dimension, lots of texture, using lots of products that I'm sure we can find, and yeah, have a good evening and stay safe, ladies. I think that's all we need to do tonight. Bye.